How can Roblox ViewportFrames show 3D objects in 2D UI? Have you ever wondered how Roblox can display three-dimensional objects within a two-dimensional user interface? It might seem like magic, but it is all about a special tool called ViewportFrame. This feature allows developers to create a mini 3D world right inside the UI, and it opens up a lot of creative possibilities. Let's break down how it works in a simple way. First, the viewport frame acts like a small window into a 3D scene. You can place three-dimensional models, parts, or other objects inside this frame. These objects are treated as children of the viewport frame, which means they exist in their own little world separate from the main game. This is important because it allows for a unique rendering process. Next, each viewport frame has its own camera. This camera is what determines how the 3D objects are viewed. You can create and set up this camera just like you would with the main game camera, but it only affects the viewport frame. This means you can control the angle and perspective from which the 3D objects are shown. Now let's talk about how the rendering happens. The viewport frame takes the 3D scene and projects it onto its rectangular area in the user interface. This means that while the objects are three-dimensional, they appear as images within the flat UI. Thanks to the camera, these objects maintain depth and perspective, making them look realistic. The camera inside the viewport frame uses standard 3D rendering techniques to convert the 3D positions of objects into 2D screen coordinates. This is how you can see the 3D models rotate and move within the flat UI element. It's like having a mini theater where the 3D action unfolds right before your eyes. Developers can also interact with these 3D objects in creative ways. For example, they can convert 3D points into 2D positions to place other UI elements that track the 3D objects. This is done using functions that translate the coordinates, allowing for a seamless blend between 3D and 2D. There are many practical uses for viewport frames. You can display 3D previews of items in inventory screens or create mini-maps that show 3D models. You can even animate 3D objects inside menus to make them more visually appealing. For beginners, the key takeaway is that viewport frames let you embed a small 3D world into your user interface. You simply create and position your 3D objects, set up a camera, and the viewport frame does the rest by rendering this scene as part of the UI. For those with more experience, managing the camera's position and translating between 3D and 2D coordinates can lead to dynamic interfaces that respond to movements in the game. This allows for sophisticated designs that blend both dimensions effortlessly. In essence, Roblox viewport frames provide a way to show three-dimensional objects in a two-dimensional user interface by rendering a separate 3D scene with its own camera. This technique bridges the gap between the game world and user interface design, giving developers the tools to create engaging and interactive experiences.